All right, what is going on, everybody? So we just did the Screen Rants, Love It or Hate It movies, and now we are going to do the epic trailers for disappointing movies. Let's get it on. And now we gotta have now we gotta have commercials. I hate these commercials. Very curious to see what they have on this.
We all know that movie trailers have one purpose: to sell us on the idea of paying to see a movie. And since all's fair in war and advertising, movie trailers put their best, most exciting foot forward, no matter how much remixing is done to make them look amazing.
In Super Real 3D.
In the case of the films on this list, their trailers were much more interesting, entertaining, and in some cases moving than the actual full-length film. Here are epic trailers of disappointing movies.
Hang on to your seats.
Watchmen.
I love
Alan Moore
Watchmen,
and Dave
so
Gibbons,
I
the
disagree.
graphic
I
novel
love the
Watchmen,
trailers.
have been through so
The trailers
many
are better
film
than the
attempts
movies, but
that
I
for a
think
long
this
time
is
it
Zack
was
Snyder's
deemed
masterpiece.
unfilmable. When the full-length trailer was released for Zack Snyder's adaptation in 2009,
Is it better than the comic book?
fans
Hell
went
no.
wild
But
over how
it's
the
still a
visuals looked like
fantastic
they were
movie.
lifted
It's a
right out of the
masterpiece, in
comic
my
book,
opinion.
while the haunting soundtrack perfectly captured the dark and bleak tone of the Watchmen story. Unfortunately, when Watchmen finally hit theaters, it was nearly 3 hours
I
long.
like a lot of
Some
Zack Snyder's
questionable
movies. I think he is
performances, a
easily
jarring
one of the
80s
most
pop
underrated
song
directors.
soundtrack,
I
and a
hated
controversial
Sucker
change to
Punch
the
though.
ending.
I hated it. That was awful. I
Comic
was
book fans
excited
learned
for
the
it.
hard
One of the
way
most
that
disappointing
having the
movies ever.
source material translated directly to the screen
I love
doesn't
this
always
movie,
result
so I
in a
think
great
it's a
film.
masterpiece.
The world will look up and shout, "Save us." And I'll whisper, "No."
Cloverfield.
Oh, really?
Good
I
mystery
love that
often draws
movie.
people into the theater.
Cloverfield was really
Producer
good.
J.J. Abrams, writer Drew Goddard, and director Matt Reeves used a veil of mystery and a hint of
10
epic
Cloverfield
terror
Lane was
to sell the
fantastic,
2008 found footage monster movie Cloverfield.
I know I talked to a lot of
It may be
people
fair
after
to
the
look
movie,
back
some of
and
my
see this
friends.
trailer as a
They
cheap
didn't
ploy
like the
that
ending
played
of
off
10
of post
Cloverfield
9/11
Lane.
fears, or a copy of another film on this list. But it worked. Cloverfield lured a lot of people into the drive-thru to see the monster show. Too bad the movie itself was also a painful lesson about why the found footage movie format may not be the best trend.
That's what I love about film is subjective.
Tell me?
Everybody's got an opinion.
We're gonna want to know how it all went down.
Terminator Salvation.
Probably one of the
Terminator
best
Salvation was
trailers
scrutinized
ever,
from the
and
moment
the
it went
movie
into
was
production.
horrible. It's one of my
And the
least
stories that
favorite
surround
movies
it are
ever.
still
It
talked
was
about
such a
today.
disappointment.
That Christian Bale onset rant, anyone?
You want me to go fucking trash your lights? Do you want me to fucking trash them? Then
I
why are you
didn't know
trashing
that.
my scene?
But somehow, out of that storm of scrutiny, doubt, and uncertainty, emerged what is arguably one of the best blockbuster movie trailers ever cut together.
Yeah.
It's something
Yeah.
I've never seen before.
From
Absolutely.
the darkly beautiful music to the gritty futuristic world,
bad the movie
thrilling
was
action,
horrible.
and intriguing sci-fi concepts, this trailer did everything right in selling a new vision of the Terminator.
Exactly. It
When
just
Terminator
sucked.
Salvation
It's
finally
still
hit
the worst
theaters,
one
it
out
quickly
there,
became clear
like,
that the
ever.
studio had loaded all of the best moments from the movie into the trailer. The full-length film was pretty forgettable, and ironically,
We'll stop
for
him.
all its
We are
excellence,
dead.
the spoils
That's
was
like his
probably
Batman
the best
voice.
twist. in
That's
the
my
movie.
John Connor impression.
So much hype for so little reward.
I'm the only hope you have.
Star Wars
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Yes.
One of the biggest movie events of a generation.
Yeah, it
when
was.
George Lucas announced that he
I
would
was
end the 20th
probably
century
4,
with the release
almost.
of
I was
Star
probably
Wars
3 when
Episode
that
1,
came out.
The Phantom Menace.
We had the VHS
The
tape.
whole
I
world
have
was
before.
buzzing for the prequel story of how Anakin Skywalker.
Because I'm gonna
fell to the
rewatch
dark
this soon.
side
I have the
and
original
became
Star
Darth
Wars on
Vader. And
VHS.
when the
That
first
is
trailer
nostalgia.
arrived, it seemed as though Lucas
And we
would
had
deliver
the
magic
Phantom
all
Menace,
over.
and it would
First
be
trailer
watched in my
teased us
house a
with
lot.
heroes,
But the movie's
a
horrible.
fearsome villain, epic lightsaber duels, space battles, and an air of ominous mystery.
One of the most
hanging over it all.
disappointing movies ever
Everything we
made.
could possibly want from a new Star Wars adventure. By now, debate over the Star Wars prequels has gone on so long that it's pointless to try
One
and
sucked,
compare
2 was
opinions
even
one way or
worse,
the other.
and 3 was actually
However,
pretty good.
one thing I think everyone can agree on:
That's problems.
the Phantom Menace trailer in no way prepares you for the abomination that is Jar Jar Binks.
What is to become of Jar Jar Binks?
He's to be Jewish. He's to be Jewish.
Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
The 1982 film Tron looks
I've never
incredibly
seen the
dated
original
now,
Tron. I
and
have
its
seen
ideas about
Legacy. It was
technology
really
may
bad.
seem even more dated. But at the time of its release,
Disappointing.
Tron's visual effects pushed the boundaries
I mean,
of
it
film
has good
technology
things about it. It's
closer
just
to
it was
what
a
we see
mess.
today. 20-something years later, we got our first look at Tron Legacy, and at first it seemed like the wait had been worth it. We had Jeff Bridges back as both his character from the original and as a younger, villainous program version of himself.
Worst
And like
CGI
so
ever.
many other entries on this list, the musical score just elevated the footage to a whole new level.
The score was
For all the
fantastic.
hype built by the trailers, the actual film would turn out to be somewhat mundane, undercooked, and filled with clear signs of director Joseph Kosinski's inexperience.
He did a good job with Oblivion, in my opinion. I like the
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, I hate that's
Before
one of my
Michael
least
Bay
favorite
ever
movies
put his
ever.
hands
Pearl
on the
Harbor is
Transformers
so
franchise, he attempted to tell the story of one of the most tragic and heroic days in American history.
And yet he
A
made
cast
a
of
freaking
stars
love
like Cuba
story.
Gooding Jr., Ben Affleck, and Kate Beckinsale helped bring history to
Ben
life.
Affleck is my
When the
favorite
Pearl
actor, but
Harbor
I can
teaser
call him
trailer
on
hit,
shit and that was
audiences were
shit.
instantly moved by what they saw. Based on the trailer, people thought Pearl Harbor would be some kind of Oscar-worthy war drama.
Like Saving
Instead,
Private
they got
Ryan.
over 3
which
hours
is a
of Michael
copy of
Bay's
it.
signature combination
Except
of
now you gotta put
overblown
a love
effects
story in
work
there.
and underdeveloped story. In the end, this was
3
a fair
hours,
ode
too.
to an important piece of U.S. history. Godzilla. You could never prove
I never
it
saw
important,
the trailer,
but
but the movie was
Cloverfield's
awful.
successful teaser trailer seems all too similar to what the 1998 Godzilla trailer did. A normal, everyday event in New York City suddenly turns into a disaster-level event
Yeah, it has
with the
to
emergence
ring.
of a
Oh,
large
that's actually
but
pretty
mostly
good.
unseen monster. Then again, it's a trick that worked twice, so why cry foul? Roland Emmerich's version of Godzilla stunk so
It
bad
looks horrible.
that the Japanese
The
creators of the
Godzilla
character
still.
had his version of the monster officially
Monster.
reprinted under a different name, Zilla. If that doesn't say how bad
And it
this
was a
movie
girl!
nothing will. Nonetheless, that
Sorry.
teaser was so good that to this day we still can't walk by a New York City pier on a rainy day without looking at the water. Wonder. Sucker Punch. It's not a coincidence that Zack
I
Snyder
love Zack
appears on this
Snyder,
list more than
but
once.
this movie
It
was
seems that telling cinematic
atrocious. It
stories in the
was,
span
in
of
my
a
opinion, the
trailer
worst movie
works
that
out
came out in
much better for him
2011.
than
I was
sustaining a
so
full
excited for this movie. I'm
The
like,
trailer
Zack
for
Snyder's
2011
making
Sucker
an
Punch
original
had 2
film.
impeccable song
It was a
choices.
piece of
Not to
garbage.
mention a whole lot of visual flair
So
and
awful.
gorgeous actresses kicking ass. In the end, though, Snyder
I
never
never
really
saw the
pulled his
director
ideas
cut,
for
and I
the
don't
film
ever
together
plan
well,
on it. It was just an awful
and the
movie.
result was a messy and even controversial reception.
Your fight for survival starts right now.
Iron Man 3.
I like
Fresh off
Iron
the
Man
crazy
3. It's got a
success of
shit ton of
2012's
problems.
The Avengers, the trailer for Marvel's Iron Man 3 looked great.
Oh yeah,
Superhero
I was
action
I
looked
was in
better than
school
ever.
then,
There were Iron
and I
Man
remember
suits
that
galore,
trailer. Me
and
and
the
my friend
iconic
were going
nemesis,
nuts
the
over
Mandarin,
that
was
Iron
being
Man
played
trailer.
by Oscar winner Ben Kingsley. Many expected
I like
this
his
to be the
I
Dark
like his
Knight of Iron Man film.
thing though in the movie.
When the
I thought
movie
it was
came out,
hilarious.
the joke was on the fans. Tony Stark was on screen more than Iron Man.
Yes, he
Kingsley's
was. But
Mandarin
that's the
was
thing about Dark
literally
Knight
a joke
Rises.
character.
I like
And
Tony
that gallery
Stark
of Iron Man suits
more
never
in that
really
movie
got
though,
me.
because obviously they
Even
took
if you were in
elements
the
out
camp
of
that
Dark Knight
enjoyed it,
Rises.
Iron
I
Man
like
3 just
that.
did
It's
not
just the
live up
movie's
to
a
the
mess.
dark, brooding superhero action flick the trailer sold.
Critics are calling it absolutely terrible.
That's it for our list, but we're sure you have your own movies to suggest and opinions to share about the films we chose. Leave your thoughts.
Some that are come at the top of my head would be, I had to think, Fantastic Four, the recent one. The trailers actually looked interesting. The movie was absolutely one of the worst movies ever. 50 Shades of Grey. I never had hope for the movie, but the trailers were very good, and it was the biggest. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The Catwoman trailer. Green Lantern. Green Lantern was a very anticipated film for me because I love the character of Hal Jordan, but it was awful, and it was an extremely bad movie. It was an awful movie, but I had hope. Spider-Man 3 also. That was a very anticipated. That was one of the most disappointing movies ever. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought. If you guys did not like this video, you can kiss my ass. And if you did, like, share, subscribe with your friends. And I'll see you guys in the next video.